Hello everybody, welcome back for another video. Hope you're all doing well and that you're all having an incredible day. Today we're going to be talking about art, how to get into art, and I guess also at some point also artists to buy, artists to look out for. It's a very requested topic. A lot of people like this idea because it gives them the idea that there are other ways to be able to invest without having to exclusively invest in real estate, cryptocurrencies, stocks, what have you. I've been investing in art since 2016. I think it is probably a very large part of my portfolio that I really, really love. And I don't mean that as a joke. I think in the beginning, myself, I was really into it just for the money. I was looking for what artists are kind of out there, how much money I could make from them, the previous prices that they had before, kind of tumbling out of control. It was just purely investment, but I actually do enjoy a lot of the art that I buy right now, which I guess would lead me into the first actual topic when it comes to getting into art. And I know this sounds cheesy and I know it sounds stupid, but buy from artists that you like. And I know that makes a lot of sense, or rather does not make a lot of sense to a lot of people right now, simply because you are just trying to get into it, are a beginner in it, or want to learn more about it. The idea is, or what most people think who are trying to get into the art space, is that you only have to buy from about 4, 5, or 6 artists, and that's it. There are no other artists in the world. That's exclusively where you have to go. End of story. If you don't have these 5 artists, and bam, you're completely done for. The other thing that a lot of people also hear about is that you need tons of money. And this mainly happens because of things that we hear on the news, articles, things online, YouTube, wherever this news you are finding. That this painting sold for $25 million. This piece of art sold for $18 million. This piece of art sold for $2 million. Somebody bought this piece of art for this, and then now it's sold for $100 million. This is the typical thing that we hear about in the art world, and I think it usually surprises a lot of people to learn and understand that you can actually get into the art world for maybe, I would even say $100 to $200 per month. That's not a fake number. I'm going to show you some of my stuff so that you kind of understand exactly what I'm talking about. The returns on art, in my experience from the artists that I collect, have been wonderful. I made sure to collect from artists who are, first of all, well-known. Once again, it's not just 5 of them. There's an entire assortment of art. There are at least 250 artists out there who you are able to currently collect. And that's like a rough 250 off the top of my head, is probably even a lot more than that actual number, who you're able to collect from. And you'll see the value of your collection going up every single year. Art typically, and I say typically because it's not all the time, typically will go up in value around 19% a year. It's usually more than 10. You'll see very good returns in the very beginning from the art that you buy, because usually there's like a dramatic spike up in prices. People are trying to get it. And then usually like a sideways, sometimes gradually down. It takes about a good 2, 3, 4, 5 years. If you are looking to buy art to immediately make huge profits, this space is not for you. Art is a very long-term hold. And I mean more so 10, 15 years. You want to hold and buy from artists who are not only popular and well-known. That's not to say that you should not be buying from smaller artists who could eventually one day become gigantic and massive, because that's happened to a lot of the famous artists who we know right now, who we're hearing about on a daily basis, and maybe you have seen on Instagram. They started out from nothing. Or like even 2, 3, 4, 5 years ago, people weren't collecting them. People started collecting them. Now they become very big and the price goes up. But it's more like I myself choose already established artists, because I'm not in the mood to play lotto. I'm not in the mood to throw a bunch of darts, 100 darts, hope to hit 5 of them correct. I try to find already what's popular or what has been around for a good 10 to 15 years. That's usually my span. I try not to, that's it. No, I make sure to get into artists who have been around for a very long time, if not a very, very, very long time, which I'll show you in a couple of seconds, just to be able to make sure that my money's secure, that they're well established, and that over the course of the next couple of years, or however long I decide to keep the art, that the value is going to go up. These are very important things, at least if you're looking for the long term. If you just want to buy something because it looks pretty on your wall, by all means, then go for it. You can find tons of art like that. But for me, my goal, and I'll tell you this as well, my goal myself is to own at least 1,500 pieces of art, and I'll explain to you why 1,500. Normally you hear a lot of art collectors who say that they have maybe 50 pieces of art, and this is because they tend to buy statues for 500,000, or they buy a painting that's 2.3 million. So they want to have kind of the creme de la creme, if you will, in their collections. For me, myself, I collect originals, but a large bulk of what I collect are prints and exhibition posters. And exhibition posters are actually the very easiest way to get into the art world. Also, if you are collecting exhibition posters, know that especially if you are collecting from artists who are alive right now, you can collect art that has their signature. That's a very big thing because for the most truth-telling way, when they pass, you will not be able to get their signature anymore. So being able to get it now is a huge, very huge thing. There are tons of artists who are very big right now who will release prints, usually in an edition of 300, 200, 450 pieces being made. They sell out extremely quick. However, at the same exact time, they will offer other art that they do sell and have signed. And it, while not as amazing as a numbered print, will still usually be in an off-numbered edition of around anywhere from 1,000 to 2,000 pieces, which is still absolutely wonderful. If you have 1 million, like there are certain artists I follow on Instagram who have over 1 million people following them. An actual million. So if you're still acquiring something that has their signature that only had 1,000 to 2,000 pieces that were made, and these things still sell out and you happen to get 1 or 2 of them, you're still in a very good position, especially if you end up getting them for a lower amount. So to the actual discussion of all of that, for that point that I just all went over, if I missed anything, please let me know in the description. I'll make a second video or I'll try to clarify in some other way. The art world is not something that can kind of, I think, be summed up in one video. So if I feel like I missed something, if I missed something, tell me, I'll go over it again. The number one question that I have gotten before, and I made a video like this on the other channel, but it was difficult to explain to people because it was like a podcasty way, so you can't really see exactly what's going on. The number one question that I got was how to store. So I myself, once again, the majority of the art holdings that I have are in prints. It's going to get a bit awkward because there's stuff kind of all over the place, and me trying to actually figure out the movements for my body to be able to show you all of this is going to be a lot because everything is kind of huge. For my, geez Louise, for my prints, I store them in this. I don't know if you can see the name. You should be able to see the name. It says Art Profolio. I think it says Evolution. And then the rest of the stuff I can't read because it's all too small. This is where I keep my art prints. A lot of them I also have in tubes, which I'll show you in a second. But the majority of what I collect, I aim for the American sizes of 18 to 24. That's 18 inches by 24 inches, not centimeters. Because this one is actually for 18 by 24. They also sell these in the same exact size for, I believe, 24 to 36. So anything from 24 inches to 36 inches will fit inside of that as well, which is perfectly fine. Most art you are going to be buying, unless they're exhibition posters, which sometimes go from 100 centimeters to 170 centimeters. I have no idea what that even is. It's like around 4, 5 something and a half feet. They're absolutely massive. You'll be buying stuff around this range. Another thing is for the upkeep and storage. This does all of it. I'll show you the inside in 1 second. It's a relatively stable, strong black book. It is very thick plastic, linoleum. I have no idea what this actually is. It's like sewn on the side as well. It's not expensive. I got these on eBay. I want to say for $24.99. I don't remember them being insanely expensive because I probably wouldn't have purchased them, just to be completely honest. I would recommend, the other thing on the list here is, of course, it sounds evident, but some people don't do this, to make sure that you are buying from authentic websites. And I know that leads to all the little question marks going up in people's heads. Make sure or try to buy exclusively from the artists themselves. Not only does it help to support the artist in this way, yada, yada, but you also make sure that you're buying from a reputable source and that the thing you are receiving is real. It is very easy to fake prints and to fake exhibition posters. So when you're buying, make sure that you are buying from a reputable, well-known place. If you go to a website and you decide to buy something, Google around for a couple of seconds and make sure that that place is actually real, that people have actually gotten what they wanted from it, or that the pieces that they received are authentic. I have a couple of times twice received prints from websites that were reputable, and I had to actually check what I was getting was actually correct, because sometimes certain artists, they have like a very thick paper, but other times editions will have a very thin paper, and you'll kind of get it and you go, oh, but then you realize that it's actually real. This is why I recommend, please don't avoid buying from eBay. While I'm pretty sure there are tons of things on eBay that may be real, I avoid it like the plague. I've heard too many horror stories. I've heard and seen too many things. I've seen people order $3,000, $4,000, $5,000 pieces, get them, it's fake or whatever the case might be. So yeah, it is the safest. It also helps with the actual provenance of the piece. Pretty much coming down to when you receive a piece, many websites, many artists will include a little piece of paper that says COA, Certificate of Authenticity. And at the end, 10, 15, 20 years down the line, when you were trying to sell this piece to whoever you're trying to sell it to, the provenance is the piece of paper that says, I got this from here at this date, at this time. I am the current owner. It came from this person. And they're able to actually go and check and call the artist if they want to, or call the people who are helping the artist make the work and say, hey, I have this identification number. Did this actually go to this address? Yes, it did. Cool, it's real. Let's sell it. That's how it works. This is very important, especially down the line, because you want to make sure not only that your stuff is real, but that as you're trying to sell it, whether to art galleries or to other artists or to collectors, that you have real stuff. So I'll show you, geez Louise, this is absolutely crazy, some examples of things that I buy and just how I'm trying to figure out exactly which way to do it. So a lot of my stuff, besides being in these books, are in these little paper roll thingies. I make sure, as well as you should do the same exact thing, because I have so many of them around the house, it's difficult to tell now. You should mark exactly what you have inside of them, like this. And the reason I'm even showing you this as well, the names and all the other stuff, is to show you not only some of the artists that I collect, but also I think everything inside of here is an exhibition poster. I make sure, like I said, to collect from very well-known artists. Yeah, Van Gogh, Hearst, Lichtenstein, I believe that one is, Keith Haring, and a Warhol as well. These are exhibition posters. A lot of times you will be hard-pressed to find them signed. However, don't get discouraged if they are not signed, especially one of the Van Gogh pieces that I got was from 1954. And while I will not tell you where I got it, the person who helps me acquire this art only deals in original posters, and I always get them for a very good value. And a lot of this stuff is not only vintage, it's very old, and the value goes up a lot higher year after year as you have more people getting into the art market who are trying to acquire things like this. Yeah, this is why I made sure to mention exhibition posters, and even from exhibitions happening right now, depending on which artist you're trying to get into, don't be discouraged because, especially the price as well. I think a lot of people mistake this. I don't know if you can see, yeah, you should be able to see this poster right here. This is an exhibition poster from, it says Banksy versus Bristol Museum. It's from 2009. The original purchase price for this was around 10 pounds, I believe. So roughly 15, 16, 17 American dollars, around 12, 13 euros. A lot of people stray away from things because they have a lower price. I don't get it. It's kind of the same exact thing with real estate. People will sometimes not buy real estate because they think the price is too low and therefore it's not valuable enough. This originally started at 10 pounds. I acquired multiple of them for 10 pounds, and I myself was able to sell off one of them about a year or two ago for I think $300. The typical price that you find around on different websites for these is anywhere between $129, $179 to $250 per poster. But I even think that a lot of that is undervalued, especially when you actually look into Banksy as well. So don't be discouraged from exhibition posters. I was like, financial independence, exhibition posters. I'll show you some of the stuff that I have. It's going to be a bit difficult because space. An artist that I collect from in mass, jeez Louise, this is crazy, is Shepard Fairey. I don't know if you can even see this. This is actually insane. Like, I wish you could see my entire setup and how much effort and energy I'm putting into all of this. For those of you who don't know, Shepard Fairey is a very famous artist. He used to be a skateboard kid kind of guy. I collect his stuff in mass. If you are just getting into collecting, I would definitely recommend it. He has a lot of stuff on his website. It's so hard to hold all this up. He has a lot of stuff on his website. I hope you can see all of this, because I can't see where my hands are going. On his website that is signed, and a lot of these signed things sell for around $35. If you are just getting to art, I would definitely recommend it. He is a very safe artist. He is not a brand new artist. He's been around since at least the mid 80s, if not the mid 90s, if not the 80s, depending on how you're looking at his stuff. He sells these offset posters on his website, not these specifically because I think they've gone away now, on his website, and many other pieces of art that he has signed for $35. The interesting part is that after they've gone off the website, the prices of these tend to go up, and usually after about a good 2 to 3 years, I've been into art for about a good 4 years, 2 to 3 years, you see the prices of his signed stuff that was once $35 selling for around $150, $250 per print, which is still, it's almost a 10x on the money that you put inside of it for only 2-3 years of waiting. And I know that these are going to go up in value because most of his other stuff has also gone up in value. And I'll tell you a website as well to start looking into when you want to figure out exactly which artist to buy. I mean, should I just hold on, give me 1 second. I'm trying to figure out if I should just flip through all the pages or kind of, yeah, this is another piece by him. I don't know how well you can see this one. This one is actually signed and numbered as just an example. Signed and numbers, of course, are going to be worth a lot more. Once again, don't be discouraged from not getting them. Here's the one that's on the wall. Another one of it. This is also a Shepard Fairey, I believe. Continuing on. Yeah, there's just a lot. I mean, I have a lot of the... I myself am a huge collector of Banksy. There are a lot of websites where you can, if you look around, they'll tell you kind of what artists to pay attention to, and the number one that you usually find is Banksy. Banksy is probably one of the most popular artists. He's one of the safest artists to buy, and the thing about Banksy is that, for those of you who don't know, around 2002, 3, 4, 5, I somewhere in the early 2000s. His prints used to sell for around 50 pounds, $65. Some of his signed, dated, signatured, whatever prints, and numbered can sell in Christie's or Sotheby's for around anywhere from $100,000 to $250,000 for a piece of paper. What this does for his name and for his legacy causes a lot of people to mass collect everything that he does, and the more that stuff that is collected, the higher the values of other things go, i.e. Exhibition posters going from $10, 10 pounds, to several hundred. Also, several other pieces that I own from him that were originally 5 pounds that also are now worth 12, 13, 14, 1500. So don't be afraid, or rather, once again, the idea is that many people get afraid that they can't own large pieces. Small pieces do it as well. The idea for my portfolio that I am currently collecting a lot of things, I've estimated and made sure that a lot of this stuff over the course of about a 10-15 year period will all exceed the value of $1,000 per piece. This is why I said my goal is to have 1,500 pieces so that my art portfolio alone is around 1.5 million. That is the long and short of it. Here's some more pieces. 1 second. I want you to tell me exactly how awkward this video is in the comment section, because I'm like, this is absolutely nuts. These are more Shepard Fairey pieces. A lot of these can be found still. I think especially these on his actual website. These are actually dated from 2016. I assume the newer ones will be dated the newer dates. But I wish I could just show you all these things and actually, this is one of the other ones I was talking about. I think this is a bit better or easier to do. This is another Banksy, Tesco petrol bomb. I made sure when I purchased these that they were definitely from a reputable source. Banksys are very easy to be copied, fake, manipulated. I have the certificate from the website from this and the original owner. These were originally, I think, around £5 for these when these were first released. This should be anywhere from 11 to 1500 right now. More Shepherd Fairey. I'm also a mass collector. I'll try and I don't even dare try to flip this upside down lest anything falls out. I like collecting multiple copies of everything, and this comes from my obsession with comic books as well. When I used to collect comic books because of the value and whatnot, I used to always collect multiple copies of them. So the idea is, I was reading something a while ago where there was this person who had collected different pieces of art from different artists, and she was saying that when she sold off the collection, she was a little sad because she didn't have copies of the things that she had sold off. And I was like, so everything I have multiple of, just to kind of like make sure that when I do sell off certain pieces, that I have a large amount of backup. Yeah, I mean, this book goes on forever and ever. Trying to see if there's anything else significant to show you. Tons of exhibition posters. I'm pretty sure some of you might recognize this artist. This is from Takashi Murakami. He is incredibly popular as well. He has been around for a very long time, but recently, the last 2, 3, 4, 5 years, he's become a very popular youth artist. I have no idea what actual word to use for it. I would definitely, and these are also very pretty as well. This is from an artist. His name is Ernesto Llerena. I hope you heard that. I can't hold the book anymore. It's far too heavy. Yeah. So what was I saying? Right. So that's some of my collection. It would be impossible to show you all. I have 4 of these books, and they're all filled completely to the brim. On top of that, I have at least 100 of these, either here or other places as well. I like collecting figurines. I don't know if you know what this is. It's an artist named Cause. He is incredibly popular. If you can acquire exhibition posters from Cause, I would say do so. If you can acquire his companions in any way, I would say do so. Make sure if you are acquiring his companions, do not buy from eBay. Do not buy anywhere from, and I say this lightly, Chinese websites. These are faked and reproduced like you would not believe. These originally sold for $200. I think the prices for them now are anywhere between $500, $700, $800. Who knows? If you see any of them for around $200 or $250, you know that they're completely fake, especially if you see them for less than that. A lot of museums now actually have these or other Cause figures for sale. I originally liked the idea of collecting figures. However, when I collect like a madman. Over the last 3 days, I think I've purchased around 33 pieces of art, and there's just no space. So I have to mentally collect prints and exhibition posters to be able to increase my portfolio without clogging up the house full of, imagine if I had 1,500 of these, like the entire room here would just completely be full of these. But off the topic of that, yeah, that's a portion of my collection. I have a lot more stuff I'll try and show you in other things. The more valuable stuff, I either have hidden away somewhere or they're completely lying flat inside of like an actual box. If you get like ever really big art from a major artist, it comes shipped in a completely different way. It is not rolled up. It is flat with tons of protection and stuff around it, and it comes in these huge boxes, and it takes an hour and a half to take out, and I'm not in the mood to take it out and then be scared to put it back in unless it get cut up and broken, stuff like that. If you are looking for artists to buy, I would recommend going to the website. It's Expressobeans, not espresso. It is Expresso, as EXPRESSO, beans. I don't know if it's .com or .org. Google it. Type in Expressobeans art, and you'll definitely be able to find it. It is a website, is relatively unwell known, but it's very popular amongst artists. I spoke about this in another video as well before, where you can kind of see on the front page, they'll have like the hot page of the hot artists that day. But if you scroll through it and start clicking the numbers at the bottom, you'll begin to see a pattern of the most famous artists, the artists that are constantly at the top of the list. And it's usually a rough cycle of around 20 to 50 artists. You'll see some other ones popping up, but normally it's kind of the same ones over and over, as these are like and it's usually only contemporary artists. There's never any Warhols. There's no Keith Haring or Basquiat on there. You'll typically find the newer artists. I would recommend going there because you're able to actually see on the website as well. When you click on an artist, you can click on their name and then click on their portfolio or click on any image. It'll show you a graph that shows you the prices of where the item was and where it currently is. I would recommend, if you plan on buying an artist, look out for the 10-year gap, the 10-year movement. I have no idea exactly what to call it. It's more of a make sure that they've not only been around for 10 years, they've been established for 10 years, and that their pieces have been going up in value for the past 10 years. Same exact thing with Banksy. If you are not simply able to afford a $250,000 piece of paper that is signed by him, his other works continuously go up in value as well, even if they're exhibition posters. I have a couple of other Banksy things as well. You get them for a couple hundred, 3, 4, 5 years later, they're worth $1,000. And this will only continue as the value of his other stuff continues to go up and as he continues to be a famous artist. So on the topic of which artists to buy, these are just examples. These are not, I'm not telling you to buy these artists exclusively. These are more so, try to always buy from or buy pieces from blue chip artists. That is to say, they are very well known, very established, have been around since the 40s, 50s, and 60s, if not the 90s, if not the recentlys. Of course, you have Banksy. You have an artist called Yayoi Kusama, very incredibly popular. Damien Hirst, Jeff Koons, Shepard Fairey, the ones who I was just showing you in the posters you've seen around the room and stuff like that before. You have Cleon Peterson, who's also very popular. He does very dark themed things, but he is an incredibly talented artist, and his work is also top notch. Invader, there's one called JR. It's actually in English, it's JR. He's a French artist. You've probably seen his stuff before. He's had massive pieces of work below the Eiffel Tower, along the Seine River in Paris. He has these huge, type in JR artist and you'll definitely be, you've seen his stuff at some point. You may have just not known that it was him. You also have, oh gosh, what's his name? Daniel Arsham, DANIELARSHAM. Incredibly popular right now. I would have a look on Instagram. All of these artists are on Instagram. And I say Instagram not as like a use Instagram kind of thing. It's more like this is where artists tend to go. It's a lot easier for them to post their photos, post their new work, post their new stuff that's going on. Don't let me deter you from collecting other artists. But once again, for my portfolio, I try to aim as high as possible because I have certain monetary goals that I want to hit with my art and my portfolio. But yeah, I think I said everything that I wanted to say. Of course, if I missed anything, please tell me, because I try to give as much information as possible, but I know that a lot of times I end up missing out on, I don't want to say pertinent things, but things that I would have otherwise missed. I don't know what I'm trying to say. Anyway, the point is, yeah, I think that's going to do it for this video. I do hope that I helped you. Getting into art and buying art is probably one of the coolest things in the entire world. Like I can't explain it. I already myself love going to exhibitions and art shows and stuff like that. So Being able to buy these pieces is very, very cool. Yeah, I can't explain it. I think it's great. I think it's a great alternative to a portfolio. Yeah, I think I've exhausted the topic. Nothing more I can think of or to say to help anyone. But I do hope that you all enjoyed. I hope that you all are having a great day, a great morning, a great afternoon, a great evening, wherever you are, wherever you might be. I do hope it's absolutely fantastic. Thank you all once again for watching and or listening. Need any more help? Ask me below, and I'll definitely be talking to you all soon.